hang on here. We're in a giggle fit now. We're in a giggle fit. We have to do the video right now.
We do. It's like 11:40 p.m.
The jokes that are off limits are Lent and Tom's high school.
in mildly famous people who may have gone there.
And that's it. Those are the only two that are off limits.
I can't tell you which person you won't believe used to rock an afro when they were 18 because Tom said so.
In the comments below, give me your best Lent joke. Tell me if a series of Lent jokes that lasted like a good 2 or 3 minutes longer than they should have. Tell me if those jokes would have been for you.
Similarly, in the comments below, come up with a person who is from the Buffalo and New York area, who is famous enough to have a Wikipedia article, but definitely not famous enough to be a household name, and assert loudly that they had an afro when they were 18. The more unlikely the
Chrissy, wake up! I don't like this.
just like do some Googling, do a little bit of research, find somebody who is definitely from the area, conversation, and be like, they totally had an afro. That is right.
Oh god! All right, Zach. Okay, all right. Now that we've gotten the Lent jokes out of the way, I understand that you have a theory for me today, and we're back, baby. We're back.
We're back, and I got a real winner.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
I recently, I've been on a reading tear, and I finally, in order to get to read a bunch of smaller books I'm going to get to, I said, I got to finish the book I'm on right now, which for a while, for like months, I was in a reread of A Storm of Swords, and I finished it like a month and change ago.
Okay.
And I went back and am looking at some stuff we talked about in a previous video with a new lens. Tom, do you want me to give you the first line?
I absolutely do.
My city, said Dany. I was looking for a house with a red door, but by night, all the doors are black.
But by night, all the doors are black. Wait a minute. Hang on here a second. Give me this. Give me a regular band shrift, please. It's like my favorite font. I don't think it's because it's good. It's because I have begun to associate it with things that I like, which includes this.
Actually, I've come around to it as a font. I actually think it is pretty good. I don't know if I put it in like my top 5 fonts, but it's definitely, it gets a high ranking from me.
Aw, I'm pretty fond of you too.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a really, I liked that joke. That one was good. Zach, this reminds me of something.
What does it remind you of?
I am reading A Dance with Dragons right now. A friend of mine was reading Storm, and I took Storm like a shot, and then Feast like a shot, and then Dance like a charcuterie tray. Which is
that's the proper way to ingest it.
Which is to say that I ate the crackers and cheese and left the olives.
Which chapters are the olives?
Oh, you know which chapters are the olives. It's just like the olives are dry and contain like hints at political intrigue, but no actual political intrigue. And they don't get good until someone is violently ill off in the middle of a desert.
Okay, now I narrowed it down. I was like, this is still describing at least 3 characters. Oh, there we go. And John's chapters in Dance, legitimately some of my favorite.
in the entire series, behind Brienne in Feast, but I think John's are my second. John and Dan specifically. And a line jumped out at me when Melisandre was like stalking him through the grounds at night. And he said, "By night all cloaks are black, but hers was red."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Almost a direct inversion of this. And I'm pretty sure I got that quote pretty close to accurate because I read it like 2 days ago.
Yeah, and like contrasting red and black is gotta be like important with where we know the books are going. Interesting.
Oh, very cool. Playing with colors, the concept of colors. We're doing are we doing literary analysis today, Zach?
We are. We are doing a sequel to our most popular video. Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh my god, we're doing a sequel to Joffrey died of rabies?
No, that is not our most watched video.
No, you said our most popular video.
Oh, sorry. Yes. The way YouTube defines popular as it has the most views.
YouTube defines popular as a song sung by Idina Menzel and the other one. Oh, I just heard Kristen from across the house, like 4 rooms away. Someone just yelled, "Kristen Chenoweth."
I heard it too. It probably got people from the recording. That's what I was about to say. It's Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry.
She was the really popular one at first, and then Idina Menzel became more popular than her later. But like, I remember right out of like Wicked becoming popular when I was in middle school, that like people were all obsessed with Kristen Chenoweth. All the theater kids I hung out with. No, recently reclaiming its throne from the debunked Winds of Winter release theory. This is a sequel to the Red Door theory.
Oh my god. I know this one, Zach. This is the one that goes bam 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 bam.
Yes, the idea that Dany's core storyline is based around the lyrics of Painted Black by the Rolling Stones, and that she will literally become a war, like lose her mind and have her like Red Door painted black, but also like that she will be shown to be or believed to be a Blackfire pretender and not a trueborn Targaryen.
Now, Zach,
is the theory.
One of the beautiful things about this channel is that when you say it like that, it sounds insane.
But when you look at the evidence, like it makes sense.
So you gotta walk me like a little ways into it.
The idea is that there is a lot of opportunity for people to poke out inconsistencies in Daenerys's backstory. I think do you have the slide of the evidence from last time around? We can pull it up.
There it is. Yeah.
There's a secret marriage pact that young Griff can say with Arya, and like he gets some legitimacy that way. The Martells believe me to be the trueborn. The crown that was missing from like that was sold by Daddy's brother, by Viserys, to an unknown buyer. And the unknown buyer could be somebody that could link it back to Varys. Inconsistencies with her memory of lemon trees, saying she grew up in Bravos, but her description of it is somewhere far more tropical. And that could line up with where the Golden Company is at, even though that's not where she may have grown up. I think that friend of the show, Mira Reeds, is probably right that she grew up in Dorne, but like the important part is she doesn't remember where it is, and it's warm, so it could easily be the Disputed Lands. The constant like moving around and shuffling around when she is young leaves a lot of ways you could poke holes in her story when she shows up. And the idea is that Varys, who will be basically running the show for young Griff, will start to poke holes in that. And that will lead to her being seen as a pretender and not the legitimate queen of Westeros. And therefore she will be driven to like fight it out, to make a war out of it, and that might be part of what drives her mad, is losing her own sense of identity, which, like, there is more evidence we didn't get to that I discovered recently that I think is pretty compelling, and I want to talk about a couple of things we brushed up upon a little bit in this video that I'd like to expand upon, and some things we didn't cover, because there are some characters who I feel like kind of have a role in the story who we didn't get to talk about the first time around. And I also want to talk a little bit about Michael Talks About Stuff. Another friend of the show did a follow-up video to our theory, which I thought was sick. So I want to talk about that as well. So this is just straight up. I want to continue. This is a part 2. I've got some more evidence and I've got some more ideas.
Okay, fantastic. Do we want to get like so if I recall correctly, the core of this theory is that Varys and Illyrio are painting young Griff as a Blackfire, as a Targaryen rather, and we, the fandom, heavily speculate that he's a Blackfire. This theory speculates that the opposite will happen to Daenerys, that Daenerys will be painted by Varys as a lost Blackfire. There was this coup de grace of where is her crown that Viserys had to sell, that you asserted, or maybe one of, like, we speculated that when she gets back to court and confronts young Griff, she will say, I am the queen, I am the child of the queen, my brother sold our mother's crown to pay our passage, and Varys like whips it out and says, your crown never left the Red Keep.
It's been here the whole time.
Yeah. And this, like, what are the other quotes in this song?
I see a red door and I want it painted black.
Yeah. Oh man, this is one of my favorite. Oh, go ahead, please.
It's a very like I don't know if I call it like super dark, but like it's got a like, you know, thumping energy to it. It has like a sitar. It's the lyrics are definitely like somebody who is not well or not happy. And I want to see the sun blotted out from the sky, you know, stuff like that.
And I think this may be one of the best things that we have ever brought to the fandom. I don't think that there is a chance that this is right. I am so confident that this is correct, even if the details aren't quite right. I am 100% confident, have been since we speculated on this originally, that George Martin was listening to this song on repeat when sketching out Daenerys' storyline.
Yep.
100%.
And now, if we want to flip back to the new board, like, I was listening through again, and I completely forgot about this line until I did re-listen. What the fuck is that, if not an outright admission? Like,
yes,
you don't write that sentence as somebody who is alive for the 1960s music scene and not know what you're doing, right? A House with a Red Door, but by night all the doors are black. That is as close to making the reference as you could possibly get.
Wait a minute. Wait, say it again?
Say what again?
You were listening to this line. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But by night, all doors are black. Yes. So, by night, when let me do a little bit of a literary analysis on this. Okay.
Yeah.
By night, when things are obscured, right? When things are unclear, all banners look the same. It is uncertain who is what when, like, in the dark, when you don't have enough information. They're looking for a red dragon, but by night, when things are obscured, all dragons are black dragons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So do you want to dive a little bit deeper into this? I'm so excited.
Yeah. Let's dive in.
Okay. All right. What do we got?
Let's talk a little bit about what direction do you want to poke in here? Let's talk a little bit about this chapter because it features heavily. This is, I believe, the last Daenerys chapter. I think in Storm. Yeah. A lot happens in that chapter without it happening in front of us for the most part. It is a lot of talking, but a lot of major decisions are made. How much do you remember of you took this like a shot recently? What do you remember about this chapter, if anything?
I don't remember how her story in Storm ends specifically. Will you jog my memory a little bit?
Yes, this is the one where she has her conversation with Barristan, where she realizes exactly who he is. He is no longer Arsted. I think she learned that in the previous chapter, but now she's understanding that he is a well-respected member of the Kingsguard for multiple kings. And this is also the one where she realizes and has to confront Jorah about his repeatedly giving information to King Robert. This is after they take Marine.
So this has themes of concealment,
Secrets being kept. Yep.
And identities being hidden. It also has very direct. Wait a minute. He is one of the people who could verify her existence.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? He's one of the only people in the world who could reasonably verify her existence. Right. Spending time with her brother, having spent time with her brother, I guess I should say, he could. Oh, now I'm thinking about the logistics, and I don't know if this is where we want to go with this. But I'm thinking about the logistics of what this meeting might look like. If Barristan's there, anyone trying to dispute Dany's claim, if this was in a council setting, which I'm not necessarily saying it would be, if this was in a council setting, hey, hang on. At the Great Council of 233, there's a black fire that comes from across the sea. The only reason that we believe he is a Blackfire and not a Targaryen is because Bloodraven tells us so.
Bloodraven tells us so as he's killing him.
Yeah.
Which I think will be. I don't think Varys is gonna straight up murk Dany right there, but I think that's gonna be basically the rub, is that Dany's gonna show up and immediately be like, "Oh hey, by the way, you're not real. This is a fake Daenerys."
Yep. She rocks up and Varys says, "Wow, how did a Blackfire get a dragon?" And then that is just true. That's just true in the minds of everyone who hears it.
Yeah, this sort of thing happens in the reverse perspective. Like, it's common in history books that somebody will like pretend to be a long dead like royal or like long missing royal who like escaped death narrowly and get like credited with that for their whole life. There's a famous woman who pretended to be Anastasia Romanoff, and it wasn't seriously contended in her lifetime. She wasn't seriously supported either, but like she basically got away with that grift for her whole life, with more people believing her than not. The opposite is just as easy to do. Oh, you claim that you're this long lost princess? No, you're not.
Well, no, you're not. You're not. No, you're not that person.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Because that's like, how could you be? That person died.
Yeah, the person died and has been dead for a while. Yep.
Now, there have been rumors spreading around. Like, we know that Alaras is confident that Daenerys is Daenerys.
And at the wall too. Like Aemon knows that like Daenerys is the real deal.
Yeah.
And knows that she has dragons. But those are rumors from across the sea, and like that's highborn stuff. We don't know what the small folk know.
You're right. That's very true.
And that's important for waging the war, is the propaganda you get out to the small folk. That's a huge part, as we're seeing, of House of the Dragon, which is what, the Dance of the Dragons is something that's obviously going to be reference material for what this conflict looks like.
What? What makes you say that? Is it the name of the book?
It might be. It might be the name of the book. Tom, do you remember how the rest of this conversation goes that this quote is from? Because that's helpful.
She asks Barristan questions about her dad.
No, that's earlier. She's talking to another person in her service.
Oh, is it Quaithe? Does she meet Quaithe?
No, Quaithe's not in this chapter.
Dang it. Does she dismiss Jorah in this chapter?
She had dismissed him earlier, yes.
All right, see, the problem with the Daenerys chapters, Zach, is that they are dreadfully dull, intercut with some of the most nuts, incredible moments in the entire series.
Yeah, it's Daenerys thinking about doing something and then deciding that she's not going to do that thing, and then she just sets somebody on fire.
Yeah,
and that works out for her most of the time.
It's Daenerys.
She just sort of does it spur of the moment.
It's Daenerys and all her friends being hungry and filthy for between 8 and 15 chapters, and then just an incredible conflagration of people we don't like, and a whole bunch of dragon stuff, and then more hungry after that.
That's mostly what's like going camping with me.
Now, what do you mean?
We're all hungry and filthy, and then somebody gets set on fire.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right, just making sure.
It was a freak gasoline fight accident.
Oh, you're the person that Smokey the Bear keeps talking about.
Yeah. Only I can prevent forest fires. It's not about you.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't refer to anybody else.
He's trying to pin me down, that fucker.
Only you, Zach from the club,
can prevent forest fires. Also, where's the Winds of Winter?
Only you and George Martin can prevent forest fires. In the comments below, tell me who can prevent forest fires.
And whether they had an afro.
Oh my god, okay.
There's like 3 or 4 other Dany periphery characters who are in most of her chapters, who she talks to a lot.
Okay. Also, is oh man. Missandei? Hang on.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's the one. She's talking to Missandei.
It's mostly Missandei and Euron that she's talking to.
That's the other person we'll have to talk about soon.
Cool. I see a red squid and I want it painted black.
I'll give you a Missandei. Like, I can give you this exchange, actually.
Right, cool.
A red door, Missandei was puzzled. What house is this? You don't need to write this down. I'll let you know when you start writing.
All right, I'm ready.
No house. It doesn't matter. Dany took the younger girl by the hand. You can start typing right now. Never lie to me, Missandei. Never betray me.
Never betray me. How do you spell Missandei?
Missandei is spelled. I wish I didn't just tab out. Missandei is spelled Missandei.
Ooh, got it. One.
Nice.
Well, that's. I don't know. Is that concerning? It feels concerning to me.
Yeah, no, I imagined that like meme of Bart Simpson saying "what an odd thing to say" when she said that apropos of nothing after having a bad dream.
Yeah, this is the meme of like the like boyfriend who wakes up from a dream and says I'm mad at you because you cheated on me in a dream.
Yeah, yes. I'm mad at you because you politically betrayed me in a dream.
Oh my god. Zach, I had a dream last night that you doxed me on camera. And I want you to know that I'm mad at you about that.
All I did was give somebody who wanted to do 6 hours of Googling evidence of a place that you may have gone to high school.
Look, there's not a lot of Toms on that wall. There's me. There's me.
It's you. And
anyway,
nobody else.
Anyway. Anyway. Zach, that's a weird thing to say.
That is incredible. Like, yeah, like that. That's fucking the entire exchange. I cut out nothing. The apropos of nothing. She wakes up from a bad dream, and Missandei's like, "What door? What house are you talking about? Don't betray me." It's like, where did that come from?
Remember, I have dragons.
Now, granted, that was after she learned that both Barristan and Jorah were lying to her for different reasons. Barristan hiding his identity so he could suss her out, and Jorah because of the fact that he was providing information to Robert. But, like, clearly they're, like, lying to her is, like, eaten away at her and made her think about a red door turning black, and that's a, like, thematic thing, right? A, like, feeling of betrayal, a feeling of like being misled, and it causes her to immediately take somebody unrelated and say, "What the hell are you doing? Like, you know, never betray me."
I hear misled is having dinner with misconception. I think Mr. E is stopping by. Anyway, and like we have this theme of lying and deception immediately after this like red door mystery, which implies very heavily that like putting these two things in the same paragraph implies a connection between them. And so who's lying about what about the red door?
I'm so glad you brought this up because I want to talk about other interesting connections from this scene to other things.
Oh, okay.
And I want to vamp on this a little bit. I think that this, like, I think there's a chance when she goes to meet, like, Varys, that because Tyrion's going to be in her court, that, like, Tyrion might hype up Varys as being a likely supporter, because Varys is the reason that Tyrion's there in the first place. Like, if he sees young Griff for, like, if he sees young Griff and Tyrion's mind is not an easier sell, he might think maybe we can get him to like wed you to him. You know, his claim is weak without you, stuff like that. Targaryens wed brother to sister, it's completely normal sort of thing. And then like by the time he's there, he realizes he's been had, sort of ordeal. Like that was my thought with this. That's not exactly where I want to go with the rest of the theory, but I just thought that was something that came to mind as like a possibility where like she feels betrayed because she was told that like Varys is a reasonable man who wants what's good for the realm, and well, he has Aegon, he has young Griff, like he's gonna make a deal that's like good for everybody. He wouldn't set the realm ablaze just to get his preferred person on the throne. It's something that Tyrion probably thinks about Varys.
This does make for an interesting question. Varys is in direct control of Tyrion's fate.
Yeah.
For basically the entire 5th book. So why, if we assume, as most of us do, that Varys is working for young Griff, and young Griff is a Blackfire, why send Tyrion with young Griff at all? Why send him to Daenerys at all? Maybe he never intended him to be maybe he never intended for him to be a counselor to Daenerys, but then he doesn't seem to have intended for him to be a counselor to young Griff either.
Because he only ends up near Dany because he gets kidnapped. But
young Griff was planning on going to Daenerys. That was the plan. Like, he was planning on going and proposing.
Yeah. And they were talking about Dany the whole time too. He goes on a separate journey there, but like Dany was allegedly, at least the plans they let Tyrion in on, a factor in their plans.
Will I get a ding? Will I get a ding if I say black or red, a dragon is still a dragon?
No, but there's another quote about dragons duality that might get you there.
Mummer's dragon?
No.
Dragon D's Dragon D's nuts across your face?
No, that one either.
Oh, okay.
That's in a dance with these nuts.
Dance with dragon. It's past midnight. We're sleepy. It's a sleepy recording.
Sleepy recording. There's one of the most famous quotes about the Targaryens comes from this chapter.
The gods flip a coin?
Ding.
Yeah.
The Targaryens have always danced too close to madness. King Jaehaerys once told me that madness and greatness are two sides of the same coin. Every time a Targaryen is born, and you know the quote, you can put it however you like. Every time a Targaryen is born, the gods toss a coin in the air and the world holds its breath to see how it will land, is the rest of the quote.
Coin, and the world holds its breath to see how it will land. Zach, I have a question for... I'm going to do a sidebar. This has reminded me of a couple of other theories that I had in mind. This is... Okay, if you're watching this right now, that means that you are interested in our video. Would you watch stuff from other fandoms? It's a genuine question. I want to know. Also, while you're down there, like the video, please.
Yeah. It's like if it like fits in the vibe here, like we do it. I mean, we get like good engagement on our horror stuff on the other channel.
Because I have like Dune theories that I'm like cooking. I have so many theories cooking, and I want to.
I've not read any Dune books. I've only seen the second, but not the first movie.
You picked a weird order.
I did. It's going to be an interesting watch order. I'm waiting for the second Dune Messiah movie to watch that one, and then I'll watch the first and the third one.
Because I have, you may know I watched Clue, and yes. I have like a universal Clue theory.
Ooh.
I have a theory about the movie Clue that says that none of the endings is the correct ending.
Ooh, I'm tempted.
Yes.
Okay, that's curious for me.
So if you would watch that, please tell me. Anyway, every time the Targaryens are born, the gods flip a coin.
Every time.
What's the two-faced god? There's a two-faced god in some of the mythology of the East in Essos. There's also a two-faced god in Greek mythology, whose name is escaping me right now.
Yeah,
but he is in Percy Jackson. I guess they are in Percy Jackson. My bad.
I can only think of the Hatsune Miku song.
No, I just want to start talking about Percy Jackson now. Zach, you got to keep me on the rails. My brain wants to leave the rails desperately.
Do you remember the rest of this conversation and what the context is?
They're discussing whether Dany is mad.
Why does Barristan believe that?
Why does Barristan believe what?
Dany might be mad.
Because she is the Mad King's daughter.
King. Your father is called the Mad King in Westeros. Has no one ever told you?
Your father is called the Mad King. Okay.
And then Dany responds, and you don't need to quote this whole thing. We can just quote the end. Viserys did. The Mad King. The usurper called him that. The usurper and his dogs. The Mad King. It was a lie. I should note the Mad King there is not in quotation marks. That is Dany's mind. That is her thoughts in between what she's saying.
Okay, how specific do you want me to get with this?
Just what you can just put underneath that is it was a lie. Dany is denying her dad's madness.
And does she maintain that position through the end of the conversation?
She's torn. She trusts Barristan's narrative, but it goes against what Viserys told her. She doesn't contest him on it anymore, but she does not seem that she is entirely convinced.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, now I'm thinking like politically, because that can be taken out of context, can't it? My father was not the Mad King. That's a lie. If you clip that sentence and you get it trending on the internet, then Daenerys loses the election.
Yeah. No, like if you say you're the descendant of the Mad King, I am not the Mad King's daughter.
I am not the Mad King's daughter. Oh my god. Cat scared me. And also peaked the microphone by jumping on the microphone.
I've luckily not had a cat jump scare, even though I thought I was going to, because when we started recording, I had one, but no cat jump scares for me tonight.
All right, so if
you got two though, that makes the chances double.
So please keep in mind that if you hear like clicks or purrs or any interference with the mic, it is not poor mic quality, it's not poor audio quality, it's the cat liking you.
Okay.
So let's go ahead. Let's increase engagement in this section of the video. Every time you hear like a, go back and listen and try to guess if that's me or the cat.
It could be me also. But it could also be the cat that's in the same room as me.
Yeah.
So just start putting random timestamps and say either cat parenthesis Tom, cat parenthesis Zach, or Tom or Zach.
Yeah, Zach, Tom, cat, Zach. Cat, Tom, cat, diggity Tom. My brain is broken. Zach, keep me on the rails.
I want to compare. There's a bunch of other stuff I want to talk about. This is just all the additional evidence here. The thing she says later that I want to jump to is one day you must tell me all the bad and the good. There is some good to be said of my father, surely, and you don't need to write this down, but he says of him, yes, there is your grace of him and those who came before him, your grandfather Jaehaerys and his brother, their father Aegon, your mother and Rhaegar, him most of all.
Which is one of those.
Because,
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I find the fascinating one because, like, man, he's got to meet a lot of Targaryens, this guy. And two, because, like, in referencing both the Mad King and Aegon the Unlikely, he hit two of the most prominent Targaryens obsessed with burning a lot of people in fire.
Yeah. Maybe three if we include Rhaegar on that list.
Yeah, we don't know what his deal was either.
And here's something very interesting that, like, we the fandom, like, let me put it politely, Rhaegar is not well regarded in the fandom, and justifiably so.
But not for the reasons you're about to speculate.
Barristan appears to regard him very well, which I find interesting. Yeah. Now, Barristan is kind of a dumbass sometimes, but still, I find it interesting.
And his judge of character is all over the place, but not like he knows where his line is.
His line is setting people on fire,
or dismissing him. One of the two.
Yeah, it's setting people on fire or taking away his pension.
Yeah. It's burning somebody alive more than once, or because I guess wasn't his line because he let the Stark father die that way. But you can burn somebody alive once, but you can only give him a 2 weeks notice once.
I was okay when you set that. I was okay when you tried to drown that night on your birthday, but then you tried to get rid of me.
That's a bridge too far.
That's Yu-Gi-Oh! A bridge too far. No, Zach didn't like that joke either.
I'm trying to get back on the rails.
I'm unpopular with Zach today.
No, I mean, it's my fault we're late by several weeks. I could not be upset by anything you do.
Hey, it is your fault. Cat, what do you want? Cat wants attention.
I want to loop back to something I said offhandedly in the previous Red Door video.
All right. Well, I want to loop back to something I've said in previous videos, that I will give this cat one pet for every like this video gets.
There's somebody who just disliked the video because they don't like cats.
That person's banned.
You can find a better outlet for your discomfort.
That person's banned. They're never allowed back. And someone just started commenting, wait, why are they talking about cats? They're supposed to be talking about the theory. And my response to that is, you picked the wrong channel.
You're on the second long rambly video if you're watching this one, because presumably it means you watched the first one. So man. You knew. You got this far, you knew. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, let's continue. Let's stay on the rails.
You can throw this one on there. In the previous video, we suggested that Varys's role in the Bad Dragon shows last season might belong to Barristan in the books.
Bad Dragon show might belong to Barristan in the books. And we're going to do one of my favorite things. Some people speculate that. There we go.
There you go.
And by some people, I mean us.
To be fair, I also stole that argument from. I stole that argument from Reddit in 2019. I don't remember what thread, or I credit the person.
Nice.
But somebody right after that episode came out said that was clearly supposed to be Barristan instead of Varys, and I'm like, yo, this person's cooking. I wouldn't have said that because we didn't use that slang in 2019. For those of you who were born in 2020 and watching our videos,
yeah, for those of you who are born in 2020, stop it.
Stop. No, they might be watching this video in like 2052, and they're definitely old enough now.
No, they were definitely watching Bluey compilations and like a Blippy, and but they share one of their parents' YouTube accounts, and this got autoplayed.
They're watching Bluey clips in 2052 because they're nostalgic, and then they also watch our channel unrelated.
Yo, Bluey is fantastic. Don't talk smack about Bluey, I swear to God.
I would never disrespect Bluey.
Yeah. Anyway, the essence of this is that Varys ends up quote unquote betraying Dany.
Yes,
because he learns that Daenerys is not all that good of a ruler and has gone a little crazy because she feels betrayed and attacked from all sides. So you speculated that a trusted advisor that makes more sense to take this like staunch moral stance is Barristan, and I agree.
And also, he's a Rhaegar fanboy, and Jon is Rhaegar's kid, if the show is to be believed. You want to know something fucking... You want to know another Bart Simpson, what an odd thing to say?
Sure.
That happens in the episode The Bells?
Absolutely.
You can write this one down. In the episode The Bells, Varys quotes the line, "They say when a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin," in reference to Dany.
What? He is
this line.
He is directly given a Barristan quote?
Yes, he is directly given a Barristan quote in that scene.
Varys is directly given this quote in The Bells. Boop. Boop. What? Okay. All right. Okay. I was not convinced, to be clear. I am still convinced. But you're like reconvincing me.
I'm really shoring up my evidence here. It holds up on a read. Like, I was always worried about the Red Door theory that like I'd re-listen to it after rereading the books and find things that poke holes in it. Nope. I've only made it stronger.
Nah, this is the best theory in the fandom.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I think it would be unfair to say that categorically. I don't think it's unfair to say this is top 10.
Thank you. I think that like every time I try and poke a hole in it, I can't.
And every time we kiss,
I swear I could fly.
Yeah. And the episode The Bells is like really relevant, right?
Yeah.
This is the conflict.
Yeah.
This is where she decides to become the Mad King.
Yeah.
Oh man, that episode sucks.
It does. However, there's another important event that happens in the episode The Bells that I want to talk about.
Oh no.
I guess technically two, but one of them is in a very roundabout way.
Can I guess?
The other one is very direct. It is the inciting incident for Dany losing her mind.
It is King's Landing surrendering?
No, I mean...
Yes. It's Missandei's death.
Yes, Missandei dies in that episode.
Let me call it for you. I think I know where you're going. You are speculating that Missandei being in quote-unquote Cersei's possession
Yeah.
is something that will be echoed in the books. That is one of these like bastardized echoes that the showrunners had.
What they have is Missandei dies and then Dany loses the last shreds of sanity. That's weird if Missandei dies because Cersei just decided to kill her in a public execution. To like, I see how Dany can blame herself for that. I see how she can be enraged by that. I do get where that anger comes from, but that doesn't seem like the thing that would. It seems like the thing that would make her angry and justifiably mad at killing whoever did that to Missandei. But I don't know if that would drive her mad.
Yeah, what would drive her mad is if when Missandei, so Cersei is standing on that like parapet, looking down at Dany, and if Missandei walks out having flipped sides, that drives her over the edge.
I got another one here for you. There's another line in here that I think really clicks this together. Who you mentioned him by his other name earlier. Who's another character who?
Hold on one second. In the bed, dragon show. Zach, you cut out there a little bit. Say again.
There's another character we need to talk about to get where I'm going with this.
All right.
You called him by his other name earlier, but not the one Dany knows him by.
Oh, you're talking about Ligmafinger.
No. No, I'm talking about a man you referred to as Euron earlier. And while I do agree, that doesn't necessarily make it part of this theory.
Okay. Many fans believe Euron is Daario.
Which it's not load bearing here, but like I do want to compare what Euron is there in the story. Bless you, in the bells. We don't need to take that as true to take the rest of this theory as true. What I want to say is it's not relevant, but I wanted you to know. It could be considered semi-relevant. You'll see when we like link it all together.
This is true. It's not a part of. We're not talking about, but it is true. Right. I'm not saying it's true that Euron is Daario, but it is true that many fans believe Euron is Daario, and I just wanted you to know that.
Yeah, unrelated to this theory, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Hang on, I'll put that in the corner. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. There we go.
That's one hard to spell word we can't blame George for.
We can't blame George Foreman. This
Rest in peace.
Will be relevant. There we go. Zach. There we go. Hello to all the new viewers. I hope you're enjoying.
I think the people who waited a long time for a theory are going to be overjoyed with what they got.
Oh yeah, and the people who are just joining us for the first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if this is the kind of content you're looking for.
If you're enjoying this, you found the right place and possibly the only one.
And if you're not enjoying this, maybe not for you.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. This is not for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Shout out to the person who keeps telling us to stay on topic and has been for 2 years.
I'm just going to let you know that it hasn't worked yet. The treatment is not working.
But, like, keep trying. You'll get us eventually. All right, Zach, let's talk about Daario and Naharis.
Daario, it features prominently in this chapter in a couple interesting ways. In the chapter that the main quote comes from, and I want to talk about all of them because I feel like Daario and Missandei are like the two key things I was missing, and then I want to vamp a little bit about some of the stuff that Michael talked about in one of his videos afterwards.
He does that, I've heard.
He does talk about stuff.
Yeah. He also plays like baseball games, which I'm a fan of.
He also has his own modded Pokemon games, which we're in.
Stay on topic.
Sorry.
Stay on topic.
About people's hobbies.
Michael, I love that. I love that story. Michael's hobbies. Yeah. That's where you can buy like fancy baking equipment and like craft supplies and giant bolts of fabric.
Yep. That's the place.
Yeah. I assume that was named after Michael talks about stuff.
That's correct. He won it in a Pokemon tournament.
Yeah. Like Bear Island.
Tom.
Yeah.
What counsel does Dany get from Daario about the events in that chapter?
The Council of 305.
No, not that one.
Is this one? Hang on, let me think here.
She gets unsolicited advice from Daario. I mean, I guess it could be somewhat solicited, but like Daario advises her on how he would have handled the Barristan Jorah thing.
Does he say make them fight?
No, he said very specifically that like releasing Jorah would come back to hurt her, and that she should have killed him on the spot.
Interesting. Okay.
Daario advises that Dany kill Jorah, and that she did the wrong thing by letting him free.
How many A's are in the word Daario?
Enough. Okay. 2.
Okay. Dany kill Jorah, and not doing that will have consequences.
Which, to be fair, like Jorah does show back up at a politically important time.
That's true. Ignore the OBS in the corner. Please pay no attention to the OBS behind the curtain. Fascinating. Okay, why is this relevant? Oh, because Varys is going to scoop up Jorah.
Potentially. I have another thing on this.
Well, I mean, Jorah is with Tyrion, and I think it's fairly reasonable to suggest that Varys either knows or that Tyrion and Varys will get back into contact somehow.
Yeah.
They sort of have to. That's got to be Tyrion's next move, or like in the next 3, is to get back in contact with Varys and say, "Hey, I got separated from young Griff, and I missed Daenerys. Where do I go? Where do you need me?"
That's a potential here, but like I'm going for something a little more like close to Dany's gut.
Okay.
What if she feels like in the future Missandei did lie to her or betray her in some way?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Hang on. I'll give you this. Yeah, that makes a lot more. I thought we were talking about Jorah. But if we are talking about Missandei, that if she does feel that Jorah betrayed her, she will roast her and Varys, her and Barristan at the same time.
Yep. And that could be like I think this is the like multiple steps down the road to insanity, is that like Barristan takes on Varys' role from the show, like, and is burned alive after Missandei does some sort of thing that can be seen as betrayal. I think Missandei might be the point where she's beyond like saving.
Varys gets roasted.
Because Missandei, no matter like how many years are going to progress, she is still going to be an absolute child. Like by the time that, because that's the other thing that's of note, is that Missandei is significantly younger in the books than she is in the show.
Yeah, she's what, 8 maybe?
She's 11. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She is at her oldest at the end of Dance. She's 11. So she was like 10 before that, probably 10 when this chapter takes place, or something of that effect. Yeah, she feeling like you're betrayed by a child and then deciding that you need to put that child to death is probably the point where people can no longer ignore the daddy's going crazy conversation, because she burned a child alive.
Will that scene echo Shireen in the show, or Varys in the show, or Dickon Tarly in the show, or none of you?
Good old Dickon.
I thought that was a powerful scene. It was just weird that his name was Dickon. But,
yeah, that's true.
But that's not the showrunner's fault.
That's true.
Dickon.
I want to talk a little bit about another weird thing in this chapter.
Okay. I'm ready.
Dany has sex in this chapter. But with her surfing girl.
Oh yeah.
Eerie.
Yeah.
You can put that on there. I'll get the exact quote.
Remember, this is a PG-13 channel.
We all say frick.
No. We get exactly one the whole episode.
Oh, okay. Later, the time came for sleep. Dany took Eerie into bed with her for the first time since the ship. You don't need to write that down, but I want to set what's going on here.
Tell me this is relevant. This can't possibly be relevant.
Here's the line right after that one.
Okay.
She pretended it was Drogo holding her, only somehow his face kept turning into Daario's.
She pretended it was Drogo holding her. Somehow his face kept turning into Daario's?
So she is imagining that Eerie is Drogo, but then also imagining that Drogo is Daario.
Where could you possibly be going with this? You are suggesting to me... Well, first off, you're suggesting to me that Drogo equals Euron. That's number one.
No.
Number two.
Yes.
Number two, you're suggesting to me that this has theming that Drogo's fate and Daario's fate are thematically connected? That he's going to die in a similar fashion?
No. Think of all this. She becomes she hasn't done anything with Eerie in a while, and all of a sudden, after 2 betrayals, dismissing somebody, sending them into exile, forcing Barristan to take a pledge of fealty, this stuff, she suddenly gets the confidence to take somebody to bed, and immediately her brain is preoccupied with the most comically evil and Machiavellian person in her camp, to the point that she is conflating her dearly beloved dead husband, who she thinks about fondly all the time, with this guy that everybody knows is an unconvincing scumbag besides her.
And And one could say, how do I phrase this for YouTube? This is similar to the behavior of the Mad King after he exercises his power. Is that where we're going?
Yeah. No, I think that, like, yeah, he. I don't know if I want to make that an exact 1-to-1, but there's definitely like something to it when she is.
It is not an exact 1-to-1. And this is one of those things that if it ends up being true, this will just have been the first hint at that kind of thing. But I do think that that's very interesting.
I need to pull up the episode summary for the bells again.
And in dance, she is always feeling unsatisfied.
Yeah. Yes. Constantly.
Now that's a scary theory, Zach, that she finds an attraction to the kind of power that comes from, like, she finds an attraction to, like, flexing power over other people is maybe a PG way of phrasing that. Like dismissing Jorah and that sort of thing. And that is a scary theory if that pans out. Is that where we're going? Is that what we're looking for?
They do have an awkward kiss after Varys is burned alive, Jon and Dany.
Oh,
I forgot about that.
Oh.
That's not exactly where I was going with this. That's a good pull, but like
I don't like
it at all.
Yeah, Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this.
This is like weird that she's obsessing over Daario at this time. That like all of this brings her like to the most gross power hungry person in her orbit, who, if we want to throw in like the Euron connection that some people believe, is in himself lying to her if he is Euron, or if people believe there's another common Daario theory, which is that he is going to, the second Dany goes to Westeros, betray her trust and appoint himself king of Meereen and reintroduce slavery and all that, is another common Daario theory. That still kind of vibes with the like general theme of this, right? That Dany, like, her madness will come with a power hunger, with a thirst, with an obsession for control. That works no matter what your Daario theory is, because that is his character.
And no matter what your Daario theory is, that works.
Yeah.
Zach, is that where we're going?
I wanted to talk about one other thing as I kind of like talk about the other terrifying aspect of her father, who she might become. But this one is decidedly more fire.
Okay.
Another quote from this chapter.
All right.
Aegon the Conqueror brought fire and blood to Westeros, but after he gave them peace, prosperity, and justice. All I have brought to Slavers Bay is death and ruin.
All I have brought to Slavers Bay is death and ruin. Interesting.
What I find interesting about this is that she seems to think that bringing fire and blood is totally justifiable so long as you bring peace and prosperity afterwards. There's no like consideration for all the people who died in horrifying dragon fire so they could have a charred corpse on top of a kingdom that it was eventually peaceful.
Let him be king over charred bones and cooked meat.
Yeah. It reminds me quite a bit of that. Dany is brushing over the fact that, and like, obviously the people who were owning slaves in Slaver's Bay were not good people, but like, the idea that she's just going to rock up to Westeros and burn all the bad people and then usher in decades of peace is extremely naive at best, and like the sort of thing that you use to justify war crimes at the absolute least charitable, right? Like, people, like if we're going to talk about the other terrible thing that her dad did, crimes against humanity, it is unfortunately the case that the argument she's making here has been used by people justifying war crimes since the beginning of fucking time, right? Yeah, a bunch of people had to die screaming, but, you know, we need to win.
I like your positions. I think they're very cool, very interesting.
But my argument is that this chapter, the last Dany chapter in A Storm of Swords, lays out everything we need to know about how Dany's story ends. That this is all the hints of where it's going. And I want to talk about, I want to put a bow on this with the addition that Michael gave to this theory, which is over on his channel. It's a video called Dany Will Find the House of the Red Door. He asserts that not only will she find the House of the Red Door, but she will burn it down. If it is in Dorne, which I do believe it is. Dany will, in her, like, becoming this power-hungry person who kills anybody for the slightest betrayals and revels in the suffering of others and like is assertive and controlling in all of her relationships, and is using straight up horrifying crimes against humanity methods to win wars, who is completely broken by all the things that have gone on before, with having lost her identity and then her trust in the people around her, and eventually the strands of her mind is going to further, like, lose touch. I think I'm gonna misquote it because it's a famous quote, but like the Quaithe thing is like, never forget where you came from or like who you are, something like that. Your house words, fire and blood, are like used to remind her of everything. What if she does what Michael says she's going to do, and she destroys her childhood home, her last little vestige of innocence, in this final, like, defeat before she really, like, becomes unsavable, in terms of her, like, there's no going back mentally from that. She feels like Missandei betrayed her, so she has her killed. She feels like Barristan betrayed her, so she has him killed. She is fighting this war that is bloody all the way to the end while Aegon is still holding out in Dorne, and because it's speculated that the House of the Red Door with the lemon tree and all that is in Dorne, she goes bad, as Michael speculates, having destroyed the last bit of peace she had in her mind, the memories of her peaceful, happy childhood. Or perhaps that happens earlier, and then the everybody's betraying me stuff comes next. That could be the point where she snaps, or that could be the final humiliation. I don't know the sequence of them, but it's interesting that she's remembering her innocent child times, and the door turns black, and then we see all of this other stuff, all of these other seeds being planted by our author, who considers himself a gardener. Look at how many seeds he planted in one chapter. There's the Targaryens god flipping a coin in this chapter. There's Daario being like, you know, you could have murdered him. There is Dany, like, having, like, a weird, like, hallucinatory sex scene. There is, like, references to Aegon's conquest. When I was, like, listening to this chapter again, my jaw was on the floor for, like, stuff that, like, should be, like, red alerts for where Dany is going. It seemed like after we got rid of Jorah, this entire chapter, which again is the last Dany chapter we get in the book, it feels like it's a point to the future. It's where George wants to take this character.
I like where you have gone, and I think that it's interesting. I think I need to take some time to think about it. Yeah. I also am not confident. We in like our weird little section of the fandom have been hinting at like a Daenerys argument video for a long time.
Yeah.
And I disagree with some of your takes on Daenerys as a freedom fighter being being something that we should see as entirely bad from the perspective of the audience. However, I think that you make some very interesting points.
I don't believe that, and I should clarify that before we wrap. No, she is doing evil onto evil, and I don't think that the evil she's doing is even comparable to the horror of Slaver's Bay. It's one of the most terrible places you can end up in the entire world of Ice and Fire, and those people deserve somebody to break their grasp on power. That being said, burning people alive is generally no good, and it becomes a lot harder to justify using those very same weapons against people who are just fighting for their ancestral lands that they're defending and never expected to have to defend. Like the petty lords, the kind of people that Dunk and Egg gather up to defend in that second book, who just are defending their little area where their farm is. That becomes a hell of a lot harder to use her sort of blunt force approach. And I think that's where the story is going to go, is that she can justify what she's doing now. This plants the seeds for her to use the forces that she used in her conquest of Slaver's Bay against much more morally gray opponents.
Yeah, I think that these are some very interesting points, and I think that I need to ponder them a bit more.
Yes, of course.
Before I am willing to come down on one of them.
Yeah.
What morally gray opponents are you imagining?
I think young Griff and Varys are a perfect example. I think that they will have a better. I don't think Cersei will be in power at all. I actually have another theory about what I think happens to Cersei in the meantime that I'd love to get to some other time, which is infinitely darker than this took. This took a dark turn, and that one's way worse. But I have my theories about what happens to Cersei, and I don't think she's in power. I think that Cersei is going to cause a lot of strife and chaos and bad times in Westeros, and I feel like young Griff and Varys might be legitimately pretty popular and have a pretty peaceful realm by the time Dany shows up. And her, I'll bring them peace and prosperity later doesn't really work so well to people who are already experiencing peace and mild prosperity, or at least a recovery when she shows up.
Yeah, and isn't that exactly what Tyrion was saying? Quick, get over to... You have to get to Westeros right now if you want to have a chance of taking it. Because if you get there after my sister is out of power, your star will have waned, as it were.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's already been warned about exactly that. The time to go is now. If you want to be the hero, you need to go and knock somebody like Cersei out of power, and not somebody significantly better like young Griff could be. And that's a common theory in the fandom, is that young Griff will actually be decently popular. And then, of course, he's decently popular. She shows up and she doesn't go guns blazing. But then she decides to burn the realm, and all the people who didn't gaslight her just because Varys and Aegon did. Right? They stole my ancestral throne. They lied to everybody about me. and now I will fight them with the power of Dragonfire. Maybe you could make an argument that Varys and maybe even young Griff deserve that, but the thousands of soldiers they're going to throw at you, they don't know shit about that. All they did was listen to wartime propaganda.
So anyway, I started roasting.
So anyways, I started roasting. Yeah.
Do I agree with these takes? I don't know. We need to schedule this.
Yeah,
we need to schedule like the Daenerys hot takes seminar. Zach, is that our show?
That's all I got. That's all the addendum I have.
This was excellent.
Thank you.
This is a great walk back in. It's like a real theory, which I'm always happy about.
Yeah, walk back in. Everything from the previous one holds up pretty well. I found some stuff that I think is interesting to look at through that lens. And if nothing else, out of all the Dany chapters, and I know that we clown on them a lot, I love this chapter. This is great. And if this is George planting seeds, I'm excited to see the book that it blossoms into.
And if George isn't planting seeds, I'm excited to see the next 3 shows he pitches.
Yes.
Zach, thank you very much for joining me. What have you been working on? As if I don't know.
I've been doing a little bit of music, been doing a little bit of video essay writing. I need to catch up on projects that have fallen way, way, way behind. But for now, it's mostly this channel right here.
Legitimately, in the comments below, I want you to tell me if you would watch theories about other fandom. Because I have some.
Please let us know. We'd be happy to make more of these for other shows.
Yeah, if there is a world where we can do this with more frequency, I want to do it.
I can finally bust out all my Star Trek theories.
Yes, let's do Star Trek theories. Zach, I'm leaving.
Alrighty, bye.
Goodbye.